What happens when the sky turns into a wall of sand, swallowing the sun and silencing the world? In the heart of the Navajo's desert, where storms buried villages, their survival defied nature's fury. A buried sea pouch, unearthed in 2024, holds secrets of their resilience. How did they outlast the desert's wrath? Join Natives Untold to uncover a tale where courage battles the storm. Imagine the endless deserts of Arizona, the crimson cliffs of New Mexico, the barren plateaus of Utah. The sun blazes golden above the horizon, and suddenly, without warning, the sky darkens, swallowed whole by a towering wall of sand. The wind screams like 1,000 voices, and the world vanishes in a storm that seems determined to erase everything in its path. What happens when the sky itself becomes a prison of dust? And how did the Navajo, for centuries, survive in a world where nature appeared intent on burying them alive? This is not just a story of survival, it is a story of resilience, tradition, and a spirit unbroken by the desert's fury. Explorers of the 19th century left chilling accounts. There were days when the light disappeared entirely. The sky turned yellow and red as though the earth had devoured the sun. For the Navajo, the storms were not merely weather, they were trials. In their oral traditions, elders spoke of nights when horses stopped running because they could no longer see, and children cried as sand filled the air so thick it felt like breathing stone. Some wondered, were these storms only natural disasters, or were they warnings from the spirits of the ancestors? One elder once recalled, "When the storm comes, I hear the rocks shrieking, like the voices of our ancestors in anger. And yet, sometimes it is a song, a reminder that we belong to this land." In Navajo belief, sand carried both destruction and purification. After the storm passed, the land was seen as cleansed, ready for renewal. But belief was not all they had. Methods passed down through generations that turned survival into ritual. Children were taught to press their faces to the ground, shielding their eyes, clinging to their elders until the winds passed. Women draped blankets across their bodies and tied ropes linking every member of the family, ensuring no one was lost in the choking dust. Men rebuilt hogans round, earthen homes carefully aligned so the doorway would not face the prevailing winds. These simple actions, repeated over centuries, became treasures of survival techniques no book of science at the time could offer. There is a story still whispered of a summer festival interrupted by a storm. So sudden the sky turned black as if night had fallen. Wind howled like spectral drums. People clutched children to their chests. Men lit fires that flickered desperately in the swirling gloom. And then they sang, a song older than memory. Sand may bury us, but light will find its way back. Hours later, when the storm broke, not a single villager was harmed. Was it mere luck, or proof that the Navajo had unlocked the secret to living with the desert itself? The storm was more than destruction, it was discipline. It forced the Navajo to act as one. Through rituals like sand painting, they did not fear the storm but transformed it into art. Colored grains of sand formed sacred patterns, circles for the sun, spirals for wind, lines for rivers. When the ceremony ended, the painting was destroyed, just as storms come and go, leaving only lessons behind. The message was clear. All hardships pass, but what we hold in spirit defines us. Yet storms were merciless. They stole harvests, smothered rivers, starved animals, and threatened famine. One missionary wrote, "I saw herds collapse after days of dust-laden winds. Yet the Navajo remained steady-eyed. They told me, this is a test. We must endure together." And endure they did not by resisting nature, but by bending with it, finding ways to exist within its power. Their strategies were ingenious. Hogans, built of timber, stone, and earth, became fortresses against the wind. Herbs of the desert, sagebrush, juniper soothed throats scarred by dust. Families tied ropes around each other's waists, lifelines against the storm. One can help but wonder, was it the simplicity of these methods that preserved the Navajo, while so many other peoples faded into the desert's silence? Another story survives, one both haunting and miraculous. One night, a storm struck as the village slept. Winds tore at rooftops, sand blinded every path. A child was lost in the chaos. The mother, desperate, did not scream. She sang. A sacred wine song carried through the roaring darkness. Against all odds, the child followed her voice, stumbling back into her arms. When the storm cleared, the people swore it was not chance, but the power of tradition that had saved the child. Music, faith, and unity had triumphed over the desert itself. And so the sandstorms became not only a danger, but a teacher. They demanded humility before nature, discipline within community, and a belief that no one walks alone. The Navajo knew the desert could swallow the sun, but it could never extinguish their spirit. Today, when humanity faces climate change, the lesson is unmistakable. Modern cities may crumble under dust storms from the Sahara to Beijing, yet our technology often leaves us vulnerable because we lack what the Navajo carried in their hearts: resilience, solidarity, and faith in one another. Perhaps the true question is not whether we can fight the storm, but whether we can stand together through it. As one Navajo saying goes, "Sand may hide the light, but it will never kill the flame within us." Even now, across the high deserts of the American Southwest, the Navajo endure. They sing, they paint with sand, they raise hogans to face the wind. Their very survival is a testament to a truth the world must not forget. We cannot choose our storms, but we can choose how we face them. And so the story ends as the desert itself does fierce but beautiful. The storm fades, the sun rises, the drums of the Navajo echo across the mesas. The question remains for us, the listeners of Natives Untold and the storms of our own age. What lesson will we carry from the Navajo? Is it courage, unity, or simply the unshakable belief that no matter how heavy the dust, the light will always return?